I will kind of mainly touch on governance. What governance we had last year? What is it going to look like? What are the hopes of improvement, or what are our expectations of the coming year with the Gambia government? And as I said, by another day we will look at development in agriculture, education, or the lack of it, job creation, tourism, youth, especially on youth employment, and the government creating an enabling environment, or the OIC project, and the roads being developed, and the healthcare system. We'll be looking at that another day. And we will again look at corruption and what's been done about it, and other issues relating to corruption itself, the cost of living and stuff like that. Then obviously we're looking at what the future holds for us in the Gambia. And but as I said today, I want to keep it brief. I want to keep on the governance, and part of that governance would be the continuity, because that's the expectation, continuity of NPP stroke APRC government up to the 2026 elections, when they will be on the ballot box again. And to start with governance, we all know it's a total failure because conditions have not improved. And I say it's facts, evidence out there, and it can be challenged. I mean, we don't even know what the government development plan is, because they have moved away from their national development plan, which have actually turned out to be a personal development plan, and we don't hear about it anymore. And the indication of governance is we have not seen any new initiative or any improvement of what the government does in the administration itself. What we have seen is a creating of new ministries, duplication and confusion. I mean, in instance, the Ministry of Public Sector, I mean, the Office of the Chief of Staff, and with the Secretary General Office and everything else, God knows what their TOR is or what they do. And again, we have seen the introduction of coordinators for KMC, BAC, and KMC and Banyan City Council and stuff like that, all politicized and meddling or trying to undermine institutions, rather than seeing improvement, seeing structures being put in, capacity being built. These are things that we haven't seen. And we have not seen this government in governance deliver on the promises that the president himself first came into power with, which was the reforms programs. We have not seen evidence of the security sector reform. We know, we have seen a lot of papers being developed, a lot of seminars been done, and the money technically evaporate, but the evidence on the ground is it did not happen. It did not happen. Things are not better, and things are not likely to be better. Whenever they're tested, they fail us, the security sector. We have not seen the Commission of Inquiries, recommendations, white paper being implemented. Rather, we have seen it been undermined. Janet Commission is just a no-no now. It's completely dead and buried. To the extent of the government have advanced themselves to Parliament to try to have a legislation to give powers to the President again, the executive, in order to lift bans that he have put on people because for political expediency, to try and poach other people to bring these political parties. And we have not seen the investment needed in capacity building. Rather, what we have seen is the wastage of resources and politicization. We have seen this evidence in our budget, where the so-called presidential tour, we know is a campaign. Opportunity for the NPP moved from 10 million to 40 million. That's almost 300% increase. Rather than increasing the budget on education and other things, these are the areas that we have seen the increase on politicization. And the recommendations of the TRRC, we have seen a lot of noise about it, but I can tell you for one thing, the only reason they pulling out this noise is to satisfy the international community. It's not to deal with it genuinely. It's not to satisfy the Gambian people, populace, because they know they can get away with things. They can do whatever they want. They are in bed with the criminals themselves. Those to be held accountable, they have not done that. But due to the government, the country, depending on donor aid or, donor loans, development loans or stuff like that, they have to try to fulfill that promise, and this is just a dealing tactics they're doing, and that's why we hear about these things. And I can tell you, if it ever happened to, would not be satisfactory, because that's why they already try to have legislation in order to undermine what it should become. But now we have seen evidence with the international community pushing, with the trial of Usman Sonko, with the trial of Bailo, and the trial of Korea, and probably other trials to follow. And this is putting pressure, but with the Gambia government, and I can tell you for a fact that the Gambia government have not done enough. In fact, the support, Support Trial International, the entity that took these cases to the international courts, they have not done enough. They will not, because of they don't want to prosecute themselves or the people around them. This is the reason why it will never happen. That's why we have a NPP continuity government. And many aspects of the TRRC would not yield anything. We will not be delivered until Gambians stand up to themselves to make it get done. If not, they will find a way to get out of it. This is the reality we have seen. And are we hopeful? Should we be hopeful? What are our expectations? Based on these 7 years of governance or so that this government have in place, there's nothing to indicate that we should be hopeful that we are going to have a better outcome in coming year in governance, for that matter. We have seen where the the Gambian diaspora have met in the Gambia to celebrate or to discourse and celebrate the achievement of the continued increase of our remittance. But where was the president? Where was the vice president? None of them present. But when we see non-entities, headless chicken crisscrossing from one political party to another, we have an entire cabinet to grace it, not once, not twice, at the State House. But not this constituency, which is the most productive one, that contributes far more than any development partner. Grace and occasion at the South Africa Caraba Hall. No, you won't see them. With the governor of the central bank, with the minister of finance, and all those people with the speech, or external affairs minister, or whoever, the speeches they do is nothing absolutely, rather than hypocrisy. What they should talk about, what they should do, they haven't done that. The franchise of Gambians, there are rights to be given. But not only that, in fact, to bring out policies to enhance the diaspora capital. So many capitals in here. There shouldn't be any government projects or government initiative that did not think of where the diaspora fits in here. And it's not about because I am a diasporan. I'm quite to call myself a diasporan. I'm very proud of that, for that matter. But it's because these are the facts. These are the facts. The government doesn't have any partner better than the diaspora. And we are a consequence of this, that country. We have widened the boundaries of the Gambia, the territory of the Gambia, and representing the Gambia here. And if the government have carried out the survey or the census or whatever you call them, we might have even found out that we have more Gambians, people who are entitled to be called Gambians, bona fide Gambians, outside the Gambia than inside the Gambia itself. Gambia, as I keep on emphasizing, mirrored Lebanon in the sense of population, the displacement of population due to other circumstances they find themselves. Then we have to be smart enough to look at Lebanon and see how they benefited from this, large population of diaspora out there and support Lebanon existence. Without the Lebanese diaspora, Lebanon would not have been today. And I can tell you, without a Gambian diaspora, we will not have a Gambia, and that's a fact. From the struggle to take out a dictator and to sustain life and livelihood and the economy of that country, it's diaspora. But we have more to give, than our remittance alone. And our people deserved us, to give more. We are ready to do that, but there must be an enabling environment to harness this. We cannot do it alone, and we cannot, do certain things, without an environment that supports our efforts. And as I just said, touching on just to show you the poor governance we have. This government have failed to hold the census, which should be every decade. And imagine a government that operates without census, without data, without information. How can we develop? What projections are they doing? What planning are they doing? How can they plan? How can they do projections without knowing the population? But do you know the reason why? They don't care. They said the lack of resources. For how many years since we became independent, we have never missed a population census. If we can prioritize to be increasing the benefits for the executive, benefit for the judiciary, benefit for the for parliamentarians, why can't we prioritize? For the most important exercise, which is to account for for the makeup of Gambia. But do you know why? Because they have not figured out yet how to how to rig the elections. I can tell you, you cannot rig elections without having control over the population census. Because the last time they rigged the elections in 2021, it was a butcher. Before the end of the voting, people have figured out where things happen. And people have hold on to the evidence. Now they want to redo it. They want to do it better. Because the last time they didn't have control over things. That's why now they want to redo it. They cannot redo their fraud without a population census. There are studies been done about voter fraud. Now, this is what they're working on. To say that they don't have the resources is a lie. There are many, the UN and other agencies that support population census. Now, the fact is here. If you look at the legislation they try to support, election bill they try to introduce. The bill did not say anything about diaspora voting, but the bill talked about registration of citizens. Because of registration of citizens should be every 10 years of elections, but they want to do it after 5 years because of what the registration they did, because the butt job they did, they cannot rely on that. They didn't have control over those voter cards. They came out and were voted in the presidency, but they cannot appear. They don't have control over them. They never thought about how to control them for the parliamentary and local government. That's what is in. Now they're trying to redo it again. That's why they want us to redo the voter registration again. But you have not seen them mention about registration of diaspora. This is a government which is selective. This is a government that's not going for democracy. Looking at what supports our democracy, what nurtures our democracy, no. It's all how can we hold on to power. That's what they did on how to hold on to power. And in doing that, they don't care. They will use corruption. They will use every resources from anywhere. From drug dealers, from anywhere. Stolen these things, from giving contracts and taking kickbacks. We have seen the road, Haji Suwareh have exposed, which is less than 9 months, already docked up with holes and everything else. You think they don't have a kickback? You know how many roads would be like that in the next 9 months? Most of the roads coming under design under Barrow are going to be non-existent in 9 months or 1 year or after the next rainy season, because of corruption, because of the money kickback they have to take to maintain themselves, their lifestyle and their government. That's why NPP become the richest political party in the sub-region, because of this drug dealers' money, contract, corruption and others. Where would they get the money? They don't contribute nothing. In fact, mainly supporting NPP is what they can get from NPP. The most vocal, the most energetic are because of what they get from it, be it in the diaspora, be it on the ground. They are paid agents. They don't have an ideology. They don't believe in Barrow. There's no love for him or anything. If Barrow was opposition today, NPP would not have 10,000 votes. Today, they would abandon him. And I would say this test to Gambians. Ask any person, if he's genuine, that if he had the business, would he give the business to Barrow to run? They would say no. They would say no. If they are genuine, if they support NPP, you give them the test. They will say no. If that person, you don't trust him to run your business, you want to tell me that you love the person, you care for that person, and you think that the person is the best among us to lead us. No. These are the facts. As I said, I'm just going to give an overview about this government. This is where we are. We have seen this duplication of creating chiefs. Everything is a strategy to hold on to power. Appointing different people, appointing advisors, anything else, they don't care. Even so-called people that went into politics, trying to look for leverage to get appointments, we have them see them appointed. The Tamsil Justice asked, how can you take someone who went into party politics, who went to say that he opposed you, he went to say that he want to stand as a president candidate, become a police advisor? We haven't seen the like of Lamin Boyang from Bushwood, that so-called, who was meant to be party leader for GAP and later so-called had a political party. Return to uniform. How can you return that person to uniform? And others and others. And now we have seen the likes of Jawo, being rewarded for campaigning. Likes of that guy from Foni, former MP, be rewarded. This is what it is about. It's not about competency. It's not about anything. This is where we are. But Gambians should be very worried. It's our future. And I said, when we discuss weeks to come or down the line, we'll get into details to some of these things. But I have to point to the budget. The budget tells you all. The budget tells you all. The waste amount of money allocated to the president's office, up to the first lady, which is illegal. She's not elected. She's not elected. There's nowhere in the Constitution empowers her to exercise any duty. She's to support the husband. Why should she be given a budget? Would that budget not have gone to our healthcare? Would not gone for youths? For amount of money being spent on travel, training, and all this nonsense. We all know it's all part of the corruption. But how much is spent onto our people? How much is spent for the youth sports budget, youth ministry? And we'll talk about this youth ministry thing, youth sports ministry thing again. Can anyone point to anywhere in governance that the government have improved? We have seen the human rights abuses, muscling on the press freedom. We have seen all that evident. One area that this government of Barrow administration, NPP and APRC have pushed for. Not absolutely. One initiative that will create jobs, that will alleviate poverty. No, in fact, they went to justify tax increases rather than cut the budget. Rather than cut the budget, they try to justify tax increase on hospital. And you know, I mean, we have to be very careful. When we hear, the bill is only, the hospital charges is from 25 to 100. That's 300. How many Gambians have can afford 100 to visit the hospital? And it's just to get into the building. Technically, it's just a fee to get to the building. That 100 does not give you medication. There is no medication. There are many tests that you have to do. If you have to do that, the hospital doesn't do it for free. Or you have to go to a private clinic to do it. Then it's poorly worded to say, the increase is just from 25 to 100. Almost every other thing will be increased. Many other stuff, transaction costs have been increased, and it's going to affect every point of it. But next minute, Gambians will turn to blame the woman at the market. Or why is Jahatu so expensive? Not realizing, in fact, we don't produce enough Jahatu anymore. We have to cross the border to bring the Jahatu. But they will turn around there to pick on our mothers, our sisters, trying to make a living. To blame them for the expensive Jahatu or Kanja or whatever it is. If some of these people would wake up in the morning to understand and follow the trail of what our women would go through in order to provide, what they have in the market, but next minute they'll be chasing them. Like illegal, someone's selling illegal substance. But no, the drug dealers are not chased in the streets, but the women selling in markets will be chased. Just to turn up one morning to say that, we are going to widen the streets, or we are going to clear the streets, we are the same. Without no strategic thinking in it. No strat planning, absolutely. And approaching women and young men aggressively, rudely, compound owners, whatever. There's a way of doing things. Citizens are to be respected. The biggest lawbreakers are not being punished. We all seen. Drug kingpins are given bail. It's only in the Gambia. Drug kingpins get bail. It's only the Gambia. And those cases will not see them. I'll tell you what. Banta Keita is right in Senegal. And I can tell you that all the service chief knows that Banta Keita is in Senegal. And some of them even know the address as I know the address he lives in. And Banta Keita is a Malian. And they all know he's a Malian. Banta Keita's mother lives in Senegal. Banta Keita is visiting Mali and Senegal. They know that. Would they go for Banta? No. Because how much Banta did for NPP, they will never go for Banta Keita. And how much Banta is doing for the Senegalese administrators as well. That's the sort of government we have. And Pablo Escobar is the same thing. Our Pablo, is the same thing. They are all, linked with this system. That's what we have. But our poor people, and it's sad. We voted for Barrow and now they're doing this. They did not vote for Barrow because they know better. No. Because they were manipulated to vote for Barrow. But then it's the duty of citizens, it's the duty of us, civil society, it's the duty of the opposition to educate the voters. This is not sustainable. We should build in our democracy, but not to undermine our democracy. This government have no interest in building democracy. And as I said, before getting to the last bit, I don't want to stay long. I've been here almost half an hour. I have to get to a bit. Do you know what's going to do? I have to say this in the open. I shared this with some people, but I think it's time to even put it out there. I have said some of these things before. Take it from me. President Barrow is not planning to run for elections. And I given the reasons before and everything else. But take it from me. But doesn't mean that he is not going to run. He might not. He might. But I can tell you, if they have their way, President Barrow will not run. If President Barrow have his way, he will not run. But you know the problem with succession. If you don't plan succession properly. I have explained this background before. Let me try and just do a brief on that background. The reason President Barrow was not going to run. I first had this before the elections. I said it was a lie. I said, oh, it was a strategy. Or they're just saying this to, or it's a strategy to people to say, okay, let's give him the last chance because he's not going to run. That's what I thought. Later on, it moves. After the election, it moves. And I heard about a group that approached someone and said to him, look, Barrow is not going to run. And we are here to approach you, to make you our candidate, so that you will be the NPP candidate. Barrow to endorse you as the NPP candidate. And that person they approach is the central bank governor, Boisidi. It went on. I still said no, it's a lie. They're trying to scam him because the people that approach him as are business people. I said it's a lie. They want to scam him. But later I got evidence that it got to Bois' head and Bois started working on it. I thought Bois was foolish to believe it. I thought Bois was foolish to believe it. He started working on it. Had an exploration group start to work on it. Then it went on, start getting onto Suwareh until President Barrow came out. And in that meeting with the Banyan Council of Elders or whoever it was, he said it explicitly. Oh, I am planning to retire now. I am going to have my house. I am going to have this. I have already earmarked my stuff. I want to do philanthropy. I want to do this, want to do this. He said that in there. He went to Oje's funeral. Former Oje Jallow, make his soul rest in peace, funeral. And in there, nobody, because nobody would even think of starting a political chat. He sat there outside in the open with some garments and he started the conversation again. He started the conversation, oh, this thing, and again. That wasn't enough. We saw a legislation came through, been passed. Exactly what Barrow said, everything he said was provided in that legislation. At the salary, lucrative salary, they had to build a house, to equip an office with staffs and everything else, to everything that he had was in the bill. But that was not only enough. Before he even came out with the bill, the evidence came out. Now you have about 4 groups. These people are not, that's what I'm saying. The reason I'm telling you this is to tell you that these people are not interested in building. They are not unison. They are not working towards administration to build. They are pulling apart in order to determine. Every group is trying to win over Barrow in order for their candidate to be endorsed. It's about 4, they end up having about 4 groups. And this is where it started. The minute this thing, some of those people around Barrow started to say to Barrow that they have to identify someone to replace him. Someone to be trusted, someone this, someone this. There are many reasons I'm not going into now that led Barrow to think that, look, I don't want to run. This is the same reason while when ECOWAS brought out the protocol to say that the 2-term limit, it was only Senegal, Togo, Ivory Coast. These are the countries that refused to support it. But Gambia did support it because Senegal, Maki didn't want it then. I mean, Togo, we all know that they will know what the Ivory Coast already broke it, and another country, I forgot which fourth country it was. These are all indications. Now, the first group of which came out, and these are mainly people who were part of UDP within NPP. The Lamin Chams, the Alkali Contes, all those people are part of one group. They are the ones supporting Boasidi. The IGP, the Interior Minister, Siaka Sonko, they are all in that group. Musa Drame is in that group. Musa Drame had finally joined that group. You have another group led by Mohamed Jah. You have Mohamed Jah, you have the Vice President, you have the Defense Minister, you have the Finance Minister, you have, some people I don't want to name within the NPP, I don't want to give them that much relevance, and others. That's one group. Then you have the APRC group, led by Sidin Jai. That's the third group. That's Sidin Jai, Fabakari, and other so-called APRC technocrats. There was, people tend to say there's a fourth, this is three groups. People tend to say there's a fourth group. No, that was not a fourth group. That was actually a pull and push between Sidin Jai and former SISDG, So, who is on medical leave now. So wanted to lead the APRC faction. But so did not show his hands when it all first popped. In fact, he was part of those people advising Barrow on the selection of who to succeed. He did not put himself out. And the group from Mohamed Jah tend to think that he was beating them because there's someone else behind Mohamed Jah, I'm not going to mention, who was thinking that was controlling so. He thought he was more intellectually smart than so. He was more distinguished. So thought that he was controlling so, not knowing so wants it for himself. At the latter part, so positioned himself. That was the reason so was sent to cabinet at the local government ministry. So about signing on others, they were all part of that APRC group. So was going there to build his base. That's why you can see the central bank governor is going into rubbish and stupid policies, trying to build a political base. So-called, social, SOEs for building the hospital, rebuilding the RVTH, building police barracks, building the army barracks, and all those. It's all political moves. That's why now you see Mohamed, they are trying to be visible more with government. He would not have touched any sponsorship. The sponsorship is not any. He would not have believed in anything for Afcom. But all these things are those moves. That's why you see Sidin Jai positioning himself. He have an advisory group trying to make him look presidential and reposition himself. So unfortunately for him, he became ill, and now he's sidelined, and I don't think it's likely that he'll be at the forefront. Now these are the three groups I have. Now these are the three groups pulling apart, and all they do is trying to convince Barrow that we are the one to hold, we have the influence to hold the party. They are doing everything they can. They are affiliating with business people. You see the Sidin Jai traveling to the what do you call it? Traveling to UK here during his travel here, trying to meet the so-called fuller organizations to build leverage, going to New York, trying to meet the shareholders and other NPPs, trying to build leverage. Going to Angola, trying to meet the shareholders there. They are trying to build leverage. Everybody is doing their bit, trying to build leverage. You see the IGP and Musa Drame and others pulling Sabali and his family to come in, try to build leverage to prove something. I mean, some of these people, they are business people, they are putting money to build many offices to say to borrow this. What is it going to end up with? They are not interested in things that would benefit us, but they just want to capture this regardless of what. Now, and they are planning for how they're going to steal the elections again. And if Gambians, and this is not only the opposition I'm talking about, Gambians care about their democracy, is to try to start to look now. I've pointed areas that they're doing, the census, the reason they deal in the census, the reason they are putting in a new election bill trying to do a registration again, when we all know that the electoral bill said that every 10 years to do the overall registration, not supplementary, they want a registration again. Because it's already stupid, even the opposition, to entertain that Gambia have almost 1 million voters. How can you have a population of 2 million or 2.5 million even, and have a voter population for million for the? It's just crazy. This is why they try to control. That's why I said that's why they want to look at they want to have a control over the census. They're not ready yet. They don't know how to go about it. Remember the time they started to delay the registration on all those things, they were working on what they want to do. They were working on softwares and other things to steal elections. But we are not interested in looking into details, thinking that we are just going to do political rallies and talk about it on Facebook and that's it. No, we have to look into details. Start from looking at the kind of legislation they're going to put, because some of these things, they need one legislation to do these things. We should learn from the past and avoid what is going to come. Now these people would encourage anything to get money for political capital. That's why our police is corrupt as it is. All they care about is where the money comes out and goes to. Barrow now have enough of money and everything. Now he wants to secure himself, secure his family. Now they want to dismantle the opposition, want to silence any Gambian to have the dictatorship. But Gambians should be very careful. Years ago, I used to say this, that countries that went through crisis, regardless, it's Bible war, civil war, whatever it is, crisis, just as we went through dictatorship, everything that's there, because if you look at the Gambia, it was, we need a reform, we need a transition, and if we fail in the reforms, we fail in the transition, we would just be sitting on a temporal peace, and that's the temporal peace we're sitting on now. Economic are not going anywhere until elections. Barrow has said this himself, that he's not going to stay if Economic is not in the country. Barrow has said that. Now, this is what they're working on. Now, if you listen to the brief that came from Economic, to justify anything is to say that, or the delivery of, or the implementation of the TRRC recommendations. You see, now they're playing a game. Now, because of the implementation of the TRRC recommendation, the country would still need the presence of economic till then. Now, this implementation of implementing the TRRC recommendation will take us to 2026. So that Barrow can stay safely, that he have economic around him. After 2026, he cannot justify economic in the country. And he cannot justify, they are looking at, if he could not have the security he believed that he need. I mean security, I mean the political stability, so that the NPP is solidified and he is guaranteed of winning the elections, or if he wins the election, he will be in peace. They are looking at a bilateral treaty with Senegal to have Senegalese troops in the Gambia. I'll tell you that. If Barrow stayed after 2024, I can tell you, Economic leave, Senegal will be in the Gambia. Senegalese forces will be in the Gambia. This is what they're working at. But they don't know, they cannot determine who's the next president of Senegal. And what's going to be. They cannot determine that. This is what they're scared of. That's why we should not rest our governance on people who are playing monopoly to capture power and secure power. Not people who are looking at people's mandate from the people. Because of their good policies, good governance, people give them the mandate. That's what democracy should be about. Democracy is not about resting your power and your mandate on the manipulation of these institutions and using corruption in order to manipulate voters, using corruption in order to steal the elections, and because of you have control over on reform security sector. Because that's why they will not reform the security sector, so that when the opposition or people get out to demand their votes, you can bounce on them. This is what they did. But we should be very careful. We're sitting on a temporal peace. To avoid all this, we have seen what is happening in Sierra Leone. I said that before, Sierra Leone is sitting on temporal peace. And because of the corrupt son in Madabio, now Madabio is looking at Tatata to betray his running mate. The agreement is the running mate should run the next election, but he's already looking at way to undermine the running mate, in fact, to run to Tata, or the wife to run for Tata, replace him. This is why he's poaching the opposition with all these false coups. All these false coups is because of, this is now, he's exiling the former president. Someone that have served for 2 terms and resign and give away to his running mate to run with you. Why would that person want to come and overthrow you? Does that make sense? No, he want to, and he's going. He's going along tribal lines. Yes, he's going along tribal lines to do that. And this is why Sierra Leone is fragile. How is he going to serve his last term? You think he is ready to serve the last term and go? No, if he was ready for that, he will do good governance and he will avoid any tensions with the opposition. Now, if he leaves, what happens to Macky Sall is likely to happen to thinking of my future. Now, I'll have to do everything to make sure that someone I trust will be the only person there, and that is destabilizing. Anything that it costs, they will do it. We have seen what's happening in Guinea-Bissau. We have seen what is happening in Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau too can go into war again anytime. Because of what? Dissolved parliament, because you didn't have control over parliament. You dissolved the parliament in order to regain control. You lost the parliamentary elections because of the force. Your elections were stolen for you by Senegal. The same strategy used in Gambia was used in Guinea-Bissau. Yes, Senegal played a role in stealing our elections. Go and find out how they work with the electoral, these things. And if you watch right now, even with their constitutional approvals for candidates, the same strategy, electoral manipulation, they're doing it. Yes. We have seen what is happening in Guinea-Bissau. We have seen what is happening in Guinea-Conakry. There's a dictator, a mad dictator that will never leave. He wants to stay on. He's not popular, but he will try anything. That's why he doesn't have a transitional program. Transitional program is to hold on to power. Now he's going at people who are supposed to be even being his allies. He's out of his mind. You see the unrest in Mali, the unrest in Burkina Faso, that the French want to continue to destabilize. Transition cannot happen there. These military powers have to start, try by all means to stay in power. What is left of ECOWAS? This is where Gambians should be thinking. We cannot only think based on what is happening in within our boundaries. Look at what's happening in Senegal. Can we determine what's going to happen in Senegal? No. What can we do is to look at that, gauge it, and know that we have to try to be independent. To have a government that can be democratic, that can take its mandates from the people, that can build strong institutions to avoid disruption of our democracy, to avoid any form of destabilization. It's achievable. But if you want to lay on corruption and thinking that you can manipulate power and hold on to power, that's a lie. It's a matter of time. Everything evaporate and the realities will be seen. And that's where we are going. Guys, this is what I just wanted to we get into the hour, for 50 minutes, but as I said, I will try to come in more regularly, and I'll, for the coming period we'll just technically go through some of these things in the development and other things, and just try to share ideas to see where we are today. We haven't done better, and because of poor governance. It's not only because of the world destabilized this or that. That's a lie. Gambia is a very small country. We can be insulated in many fronts that we will not affect. We can be insulated if our economy was run better, if the governance is run better. What we have is a powerhouse. This powerhouse is the diaspora. The proof of it, every year, let me show you this, the proof of it. When they say things are hard, things are difficult in the world, how come diaspora keep on defying them? How come the diaspora keep on defying them? In 2019, the diaspora remittance was $318 million, $0.5, $318 million, $5, 2019. What happened after 2019? COVID, Russia, Ukraine war. That's what the excuses the government gives. We all know it's cost of living and everything demand here, but Gambian diasporas even did far more. And look at it. These are official figures. This is not counting on materials being taken to the Gambia. No, it's not counting on this is just the financial transactions through the proper corridors. Not from the 5,000, 10,000, 3,000, 400, 500 people take along on holidays or whatever it is. They're not counting on those. They're just counting on the official. They're not counting on the materials we export in there and other things. No. But then take that into account. 2019. And 2023, we went from 318 to 2022. Sorry, 2022. In 2022 we did $712 million. From 300 to 700. In 2019 we did 318 million. But in 2022 we did 712 million. In 2023 we did 737 million. From 2019 we have doubled the remittance. Which development partner does that? In fact, they're reducing and they're trapping you into debt. Trap. You know, most people don't understand now what's going on with this IMF World Bank thing. Why do you think Gambia now, you don't hear about China? Because when the minute China started, look, I am not a fan of any of them. I'm not saying that we don't do deals with China, Russia, whatever it is. So yes, we are a free nation. But we should always think of our interest. You know, when China came with their kind of a bad policies in certain ways, the way they do certain things, they're okay, we give you this loan, but we give us rights to fish and pollute your waters and stuff like that. I don't like it. Or we build some roads, some bridge for you so that you make these policies, open tax or all this nonsense. I don't like that. But we can work in another ways. No, we can do that, we do this. Now, IMF and other World Bank fail out or they're losing out, they come to the Gambia government and they know that this government are not doing well. They know about the corruption, they know about the waste and everything. They have looked at this budget, they know that that budget is not fit for purpose. Do they care? No. They just want to lock China out, the Turkey out, and other this thing out. The BRICS, and they just get in there to control us. We always, that's why we need the opposition to start to look at these things, opposition to be bold enough to come and tell us. All those fish factories will be getting out. These are the policies we're going to put in place. Why can't you say that? And other things and other things. Thank you very much, guys. As I said, this is going to be brief. I'll try to be coming brief because most of the things we have talked about before, but we put it in a different perspective to keep the conversation going. Thank you very much and have a good day.